Okay, so here's how to create a new command inside of Star Wars. What we have so far is what I've brought back is the Jedi's ability to heal someone else other than themselves, making them sort of an off medic. Uh, so we've got Force Heal Ally. I'm going to create a third, and we'll go ahead and follow along. So for this, we're just going to go ahead and exit the game, and we'll get back in later. Starting off, we are going to need these three table files: combat data, command table, and skills. We're also going to need to modify the combat actions Java file. Don't be overwhelmed. This is just copy and pasting something that does something similar, and you just change the name. Really easy. So starting off, let's go ahead and make the ability. So for the most part, I'm just copying, again, something that I already had. You could easily do this by copying the Jedi's self-heal and then change the target from none to friend. And of course, make sure the hit type is heal. There's a couple other places to change that as well. So just keep an eye on what you're modifying. Not really going to go into every single column in the table, just the important beats to hit. So I'm just going to basically duplicate one that I've already created. Now, naming is important. So this is going to be our combat action. Just want to scroll through all of your tables or all of your columns. Make sure it does what you want. Don't need it to do any personal animations, but if you are holding a lightsaber of any kind, I have it doing the particle animation of Force Transfer 1, since that's pretty much it was either that or Force Healing 1. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Force Healing 1. Attack type single target. Then you can set the range, how much it's going to heal for, and how much action it costs. I don't think this scale's quite right, but I'll go ahead and verify my numbers later. This is just going to be a test. This would be if you are applying a buff to yourself or a buff to your target. Those are all in the buff table. And using these same steps, you can easily add a buff to a command just by putting the name of a buff that you've created in there or an existing buff. The special line is important. It doesn't have to be the exact same name as what you had at the beginning of combat data. Most of the trend here seems to be all of these are going to be Force Lightning 1, 2, 3, 4, but they're all part of the same line, so they're going to share the same icon. And this seems to be very important for where the icons are going to come from. And that's been what's causing me the most grief. We can easily get powers, we can get buffs, we can get cooldowns, we can make it your character able to learn it. But getting a new icon onto a new, or getting an existing icon onto a new ability was tricky in figuring out what the icon needs to be mapped to, and it seems to be mapped to this special line column for the most part. So that's it for combat data. Now we need to go into our command table. All of these are inside of your source file on the shared side. Again, we'll copy a column. Now this is important. So this is going to be the name of the command. That's where we need to point our script variables to. So if you want it to have a name and a description, so that way it looks nice and fancy like everything else, you need to make sure you set this name correctly, make it unique, and then add that name to the cmd_n and cmd_d string files. I'll show you how to do that later. Script hook is the scary part. That's what we are pointing to our combat actions Java. So in this case, if we want to heal someone else, well, we've got a pretty decent example right over here with the medic's back to grenade. So might as well go look for that. So if this is a script hook for medic back to grenade, we're going to go ahead and look at that combat actions Java file, search for it. And here we go. Here is the scripting for the back to grenade. If you're in a vehicle or if you're not in the attack range, it's not going to work. If otherwise, it's going to work. So this is variables for reasons for it not to work. And this is basically it saying, okay, go ahead and do the combat standard action, medic back to grenade, and passing it the correct arguments. And then it's done. Now, this one is for the jewelry set for the medic. It's the successful fast attack, and it changes the timer cooldown to 0. Make sense? So far, my understanding with scripting is you got to kind of unfocus your eyes and skim. And if you can pick up on the little portions of what they're trying to say, then you can kind of figure out what's going on. Since you can't read it as like human readable, you got to figure out what connects to what. You know, if you want to figure out like what is PvP can help, just search through everything for PvP for every instance of this, and at some point you'll find a file that is the entire handler for whether or not you are allowed to heal or buff someone who is flagged for PvP. So if someone is special forces and you're only a combatant, you can't heal them because they could be being hurt by another player and you're not going to heal them, but the other player can't heal you. That's not going to fly. Anyway, we don't need this. We're not going to be wearing medic jewelry while being a Jedi. Oh god, no. Don't delete that from the existing thing. We're just going to copy it. Then we're going to go find the Jedi self-heal. So that way we put it in the same area. This is not necessary. This is just organized. So these are the self-heals. Now we have medic back to grenade. Okay, so back to the table, the command table, and where'd it go? Heal other 3. So we're just going to go and change the name. Is if we call the script hook heal other 3, it's going to check if certain things are not true for trying to heal your target. It's not going to work. I might have to mess with this target equals self because back to grenade can be used on yourself. Heal other is not supposed to be, but we'll see. And then if everything works, then it's going to actually trigger the combat standard action, and I believe that maps back to the combat data tab over here. So that's the name that you want to be giving it for that situation. Again, we're going to remove the stuff to do with the medic jewelry, save, and that was it. That was scripting. Congratulations. All right, back to the command table. Let's make sure we have everything else we need. Character ability, this is okay, you want to use this command, then your character needs to have this skill unlocked, and that's going to be listed in the skills.tab. So whether it's unlocked via expertise or just from leveling up on your roadmap. And then all of these columns are what state you're allowed to be in. Standing, sneaking, walking. Sitting is in here, so sitting, yeah. So most abilities can't be used while sitting. I specifically have a couple that I want to do while meditating, and I'm working on those for another time. But if you're sitting, you can't do stuff. Stand back up, then you can heal other people and buff and do all that good stuff. There's a lot of these. Okay, what target it needs to be. Make sure it's friend. It's required, not optional, so it can't be a friend or you. We want the ability to be visible. What group it's in. Max range, that's important. I did 48 meters. That's the range of back to grenade. Seems about right. Weapons that you're allowed and not allowed to use. My tables are a little wide, but you can be using any weapon to use force heal, obviously. I added it to the same cooldown group. These don't need to be pointed to anything. It can just be certain naming conventions. You know, if you want to use the lightsaber flurry attack, it's going to be a part of the same cooldown group as every flurry. Otherwise, you could just fill your toolbar with flurry 7, 8, 9, 10, and then be using all 4 of those because they're on separate cooldown groups. Usually, you want to have them all on the same cooldown group. Then the cooldown time, good enough. Toolbar only. Okay, that's about it. We have the combat data that it needs. We have the command table for the actual command that is going to be in your command window. Now we put it in the skills tab. So here we have the very end of force sensitive. Although we're not going to put it exactly there. So this should line up. Let's see. I've already done the heal other 1 and 2 there. This is where you get your self heal 3. We'll go ahead and add the heal other for 3 there as well. All right, and that's it. Now, if your character is at the 4th segment of Phase 4, they get Force Heal Other 3. And it's really that simple. Now you have a working ability. It has no name, no description, no icon, but if you compile and reload, you will find that in your command browser. Put it on your toolbar, and you can use it, and it's going to work. You know, probably, unless I missed something again. But I'm pretty sure we're good. So, let me connect to my Windows machine here. Oh, no, we skipped a step, obviously. So we need to compile the JavaScript that we just edited. That won't take long. Compile tab for the new tab files that we've edited. Should be 3 of those. Ignore that. That was because I was messing around with something else, but we've edited combat data, command table, and skills. So now we can start the server. And then we've been messing around with everything inside of dsource. Now you want to be in data, SKU, shared, compiled, game, data tables, and these are the compiled tables that you just created or edited. Then in your source folder, data tables, just copy the stuff over. Buff needs to go in buff because it needs to follow the same folder structure as what you see in your server. and skill. Okay, that's it. So now we have a working ability, but it needs to have some scripting. So in SIE, I'll open up a fresh instance for you so you can see where to do it. Oh, good grief. All right. So inside of string English, we're looking for CMD underscore D for description and CMD underscore N for name. You would extract those and then edit them. I already have mine extracted, and then they will follow the same sort of convention. Inside of your client folder, string N, and then you should have your command D and command N. Now we can go ahead and name them or set them up. I already set mine up, so this matches the command name, as I said, and now this is going to be the description that you see when you mouse over that command or select it in your command window. And then here's the name, force heal ally 3, heal. I'm going to make a fourth later. Don't worry about that. As I said, following these steps, you can easily create a buff as well. And so if you want to have the buff have some human readable text on, your buff's window, under your character health bar, you would want to mess with UI underscore buff as well. All right, we've got those. Last step, and it's a doozy, is mess with your UI. So in my case, I have already done this because it is a lot, and we're not going over the UI builder today. But suffice it to say that if you have your UI builder working and you understand what files you're messing with by using the UI builder, which doesn't take too much time or effort, we can go into styles, icon, and command. And this is where all of the commands are. So if you have back to toss points to the source file of UI new icons temp2 and the source rectangle of this. What that means is if you go into SIE again and you go into texture, let's look for that name. UI new icons temp2. It's just a page of 10 by 10 icons for all the abilities that we know of in the game. That's what each of these pages are. And then the source rect is pointing to a specific one. It's just drawing a rectangle around it. What is it? We've got back to toss. Where's that? Here. So see the red square around it? All they did was they put the coordinates for the top right corner, bottom left corner, and made sure to position it just right. See the region down here at the bottom changes as you scroll through. So your ability could be this weird mash of 4 of them, or more professionally, it's just line it up nicely with that. Easiest thing to do is really to use one of the SWG icon locator. It's posted in the Discord. You would select your size. The page is going to be 10 icons by 10 icons. So I put 10. And then what column is it? Across the top. What row is it? Going down. So if you put in that, it's going to tell you what your source rect should be. And then you would fill that in. Not too difficult, so long as you know what you're supposed to be naming it, which is what took me all night figuring out. So what it needs to be is it would match your what the hell? I have that set to force heal other 1. Oh, no. No, I don't. Okay, that's old data. So it should match what you have for your special line. Take a look at that again. That is in combat data, and then this column, special line. We have it set that all of these are part of the FS heal other special line. So that is the name that we used for the UI ability. So just to correct that, that's what it should look like. And if you have your source and your source rect set correctly, which I do, it's this hand that's shooting energy down, kind of looking like it's doing a lay on hands of somebody, then there you go. So after you mess with that, that of course goes in your UI folder. And what we've been messing with is UI_styles.inc for an include file. Okay, that's it. We have an ability that should work. We have a name, we have a description, and we have an icon for it. Cluster is up and running. So let's go ahead and log in and see if it works. So we'll check the command browser. Well, nope. First, let's check the roadmap. So 4th section of phase 4, force heal ally 3, mouse over it, channel the force into an ally to heal their wounds. There's our description. There's our icon. It's beautiful. And now we can drag that onto our toolbar and overwrite force heal ally 2. Okay. So now we'll load into my tester guy and launch a second window. He's going to go ahead and drink something to increase his hit points to make our life easier. Come on. Okay. Give him some damage to heal. And there we go. Hey, you look like you're hurt. Let's go ahead and activate our force heal. 4,500 hit points. Fantastic. And again. Awesomeness. Okay. Well, that's it for this tutorial. It works. It's beautiful.